10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Dipping into their reserve time just a little bit here. Steve Setz trying to decide what they really value the most. There's still Pangolier as well. He was added to Captain's Mode just last week, and I haven't seen a whole lot of him here in the AD2L yet. I think largely considered a fairly popular hero right now, perhaps not as broken as some said, but they opt for the Bane, a really solid single target lockdown support, and if XP Leechers do want to go for the Pangolier, then Bane is a good option against the hero. But XP Leechers going for another incredibly strong support, one of the best 4 positions out there. He offers a lot of offensive and defensive ability, can scout, he has good damage, one of his abilities pierces BKB, he has excellent snowball saves, just a generally very, very strong hero. And XP Leechers decide Ice is nice, picking up another cold support, the Ancient Apparition. Steep Sets could still go for a Witch Doctor, but I think Witch Doctor would still be fine. I mean, you lose a little bit of value from the Voodoo Restoration when your heroes are hit by the Ice Blast, but it's not a complete counter. There's also still Disruptor.
5 seconds remaining.
But I really would like to see Steep Sets go for something a little bit more damage-oriented. Bane has good single target damage, but they could use something like Disruptor or Sand King to help in team fights and do a little bit more area of effect damage. Witch Doctor also great against tanky heroes in case XP Leechers wanted one, and I think Witch Doctor just, in general, very, very good right now. I think the hero with Malediction is just so strong. Gyrocopter also still in the pool, an entirely first pickable core, but they go for Clock, a roaming support, and just a ton of control for Steep Sets, but I feel like Clock can set up for some of AA's stuff, but both teams now have some area control with the Cogs or the Ice Shards, though XP Leechers do have a bit better because they've got the Sigil, they have Ice Vortex, so a lot more tools to keep the fight kind of contained, or at least more uncomfortable for Steep Sets. Though the Clockwork's Flare will provide a lot of scouting information, so both teams do have I think XP Leechers have better vision just off of abilities. But I think Steep Sets, Clockwork Rocket is on an incredibly short cooldown, will let them keep tabs of Roshan rather easily. So both teams are looking deep. I like these support duos. The single target kill potential on Steep Sets is excellent, but I think XP Leechers support duo does much more in fights. Is a lot less positioning dependent, although of course positioning on any support, especially melee supports, is critical. Juggernaut, Razor, and Shadow Fiend, and lastly Lifestealer banned out. This does leave Phantom Lancer as an option, and neither support duo good at killing Phantom Lancer. So, but I mean, they can still pick cores like an Offlane Shaker or Queen of Pain. Death Prophet's okay, but I like to look at PL a lot. And XP Leechers, though, with the Gyrocopter pickup, make something like the Phantom Lancer a much less attractive option for Steep Sets. Just Gyro by himself can manage that hero quite well until very late in the game when his illusions become incredibly tanky. Gyro received some small nerfs, but nothing to keep him from being this dominant force. I mean, it's kind of moved him from the first phase pickable territory to the second phase pickable territory. And Steep Sets going for that. Another new hero, the Dark Willow. Massive control options on her. Terrorize, one of the best AoE control spells in the game. This does mean the draft a little bit flexible. They could run the Dark Willow as a core or as a support. Neither is entirely unheard of. I think I prefer it. I mean, it depends on the game.
5 seconds.
I feel like this game you could get away with it because Bane is so good at being the sacrificial 5, so good at getting so little, you know, that and he can still be incredibly high impact with it. I think it would be fine to run her as a support in this situation. Do Clockwork as a core. It does weaken their roaming potential a little bit, but I mean, Dark Willow, Cursed Crown, and Shadow Realm are very potent, as is the Bramblemate. Honestly, all of her abilities quite powerful, and Terrorize, one of the best AoE control spells in the game, if not, and of course this is just my opinion, the best, an incredibly long range AoE that functions similarly to something like Black Hole or Winter's Curse or RP that can just win you the fight by itself. And a massive AoE that can be cast from an incredibly long range. But XP Leechers have good tools to catch heroes. I mean, you've got the homing missiles, you have Ice Blast and Ice Vortex to provide vision and long range initiation. Snowball, of course, can make things quite uncomfortable for someone like the Dark Willow, who, while she is untargetable, is still affected by AoE spells in the Shadow Realm. XP Leechers will be looking for either, so the Gyro could go mid or save. It kind of depends on the matchup. I think he's a fine mid, but there's something, they could always go for like the Dragon Knight, very tanky, but in this game I don't like it so much because it's not great against a ton of magic damage. The hero is very, very good when he's against a lot of physical damage. The hero is quite powerful when you just cannot poke him down. And I just feel as though with just the magic damage on Steep Sets, the pure damage from the Bane, and it would kind of, he'd still be good at the single target damage. He's still rather tanky just because of his HP regen. And they could use him as a building hitter. But instead they go for that Legion Commander. Great offlaning hero. I suspect it will solo offlane. At the moment can be zoned sort of well by the Bane, just with Enfeeble. But she can, if she gets a Soul Ring or any kind of mana regen, she could just last it with her Q. Her counter is still going to be quite good for healing herself, but it's sort of rough against Bane. I think Bane, one of the better heroes against the Legion Commander. If you nightmare somebody dueling, either person in the duel gets nightmared, and it will just endlessly bounce the nightmare back and forth, which makes it quite difficult for her to win duels. So Steep Sets have a great save for duels, but they go for Luna, that other AoE teamfight focused core. I think Luna scales better than the Gyro just a little bit. A lot more of her power is in her right clicks than in her spells. Gyro's biggest power spike is like his level 6. Well, it's not his biggest, but one of his biggest power spikes is his level 6. Because you have the call down available, and suddenly this hero with basically no items, maybe phase boots or power treads, whatever you want, and one other item can massively swing team fights in your favor with call down. And with AA and Tusk, they have good looking teamfight already. Those Steep Sets, no stranger to a big brawl with the Terrorized Bedlam and the Eclipse, all available options for them. It just feels to me that Steep Sets may scale better, but this Legion Commander having a good game, winning a lot of duels, can get her quite nasty quite quickly. So I feel like a lot of pressure maybe on XP Leecher's Legion to do well. She's just going to need to win a couple duels, kind of keep the tempo going. But again, I feel like it's going to be a little bit difficult. The team fights of Steep Sets, they have more control in team fights, and that can really determine how the fight goes. But looking for their mid, they might want something like a Viper. There's still Death Prophet. They have a good building hitter in the Luna already. For them, I feel like the Dragon Knight would be pretty good. Tinker has been unbanned, so he's an option. They could go for the Shrek too. I kind of like Lesh. You hit buildings well. It's better, more team fight.
5 seconds remaining.
I do like that quite a lot. So Steep Sets burning deep into the reserve time. They have a few options available for themselves, so I'm not sure what they'll go for. And actually, they go for the Mirana, something I hadn't even really considered. We'll see how this plays. I mean, it could be a mid Willow and then a roaming Mirana. I don't think could also be a mid Rana. She could go for. I'd rather see the right click build than the magic build. Of course, the magic build on Mirana, like the Ags, is a little bit less favorable these days. Although it's still doable.
Choose wisely.
While XP Leecher is going for a huge damage output in the Queen of Pain. Very good tempo hero. Can really dictate the pace of the game. Lanes incredibly well. I don't think that any of whatever Steep Sets send mid against that necessarily beats it. I think Mirana does okay against it, but I don't think she beats it. I mean, the poke damage on the Mirana is fine if she shoots out the Q. If she can hit the Queen with the Q, you have to get kind of close for that though. Queen of Pain though could just hurl out those daggers, those long range right clicks with a pretty good base attack time, and really make things uncomfortable for you. The lanes I'm gonna have to give to XP Leechers though. Like
10
Tusk
seconds
AA,
remaining.
Legion, Gyro, Quab, all these heroes are very strong laners, very high impact laners. While Steep Sets, not horrible laners, but I just feel like they're a bit outclassed by XP Leechers line up in the lane. But if Steep Sets can survive the lane and go late, all of these heroes, like the Willow, the Luna, the Mirana, they all hit very, very hard the later the game goes. Even if Willow is a support, she scales phenomenally with items. So I think Steep Sets maybe looking pretty good late game, but I don't know if they look even as good late game as XP Leechers do. I think I'm going to go with XP Leechers this game, unless they lose their lanes. I feel like Legion Commander is a hero that plays okay from behind, but not fantastic. She certainly, I mean, it feels kind of bad to play her from behind. Though I guess it remains to be seen if she will be behind as the game 1 in a best of 2 just getting underway. On the side of Steep Sets, the Radiant Master playing Mirana. Dark Willow played by Stick. Then Feels Bad Man playing the Clockwork. Luna by Ping Pong. And Darth Heisenberg playing the Bane. While on the other side of the map, the Dire Heroes. I completely forgot their team name. F6. XP Leechers. My apologies. Troll Bus playing Gyrocopter.
Just what I was waiting for.
Chico, what a cheeky guy, playing the Queen of Pain. Morgan No Farm on Tusk, while Legion Commander by XPL Chris. And then Mikhail SK8. I'm going to just call it Mikhail on Ancient Apparition. So it is going to be a mid-Rana played by Master. And to support Clockwork is they run the Dark Willow in the off lane. And I think off lane Dark Willow might be a little bit better. The hero just does so much with items and gold and levels that I think you can play her as support, but I think her impact as a core is very, very high. Stick likely to be forced from his bounty rune, already running off. Sees the 3 Dire Heroes and doesn't really want to be involved with that. The level 1 kill potential with shards and Rocket Barrage, AAE, or even the Q
Whose side was I
bails
on
out. But they do manage, Steep Sets do get the bot lane, both bot lane runes, so both teams, and that's very standard to see both teams getting 2 bounty runes apiece. This lane going to be quite difficult for the Legion, I think. Just for getting regular right-click levels, or last hits, I should say. The Bane, I would like to see him start Enfeeble, but he's gone with the Brain Sap instead. I think against a hero like Legion, who's very reliant on just her right-clicks to get CS in the early game, she does not have very much mana regen, nor very much mana to spam with the overwhelming odds. It could make it difficult for her. But already throwing those overwhelming odds out. Level 1, not a huge pain, but still a bit annoying. So with overwhelming odds, I think she gets fine farm. I don't think it'll be an issue really, unless you know the Enfeeble comes in, then Clock joins. Yeah, he's just TPing out. He sees the Clock. Fortunately for him, not caught by the battery assault, but already having to use that TP. I think both of them are going to get okay levels. I think Stick is at greater risk of dying. But already found his level 2, so has the Bramble Maze. Oh, he has a ward. The Ice Shard's zoning him in. He's likely to get stunned by the AA. No, just barely getting out of that in time. Shadow Realm preventing any follow-up right clicks. In mid, Mirana very far behind in last hits to the Queen of Pain. See if she can catch up underneath her tower. Mirana can always run to the jungle and hurl out Sacred Arrows to farm. I'd kind of like to see that happen. But speaking of running to the jungle, Dark Willow Stick, oof. Those shards quite close. And Mikhail trying to trade a bit, forcing the Dark Willow away. They want to keep her off of her own bounty rune, deny her that bit of gold. This bounties no longer give XP as of, I think, 7.10. So a couple patches ago.
Fit for a queen.
But both offlaners finding okay XP, though the farm game favoring the Dire by mere inches, as the Legion Commander is out farming this Dark Willow, who has gotten next to nothing, though with the wave pushed in, that's sure to change. And of course, it's only the first couple minutes of the game. You can't really judge by that. Mirana, oof. Forced back, narrowly escaping death. Cogs and the battery assault beating this Legion commander. The brain sap. They do have a point in feeble, so no more setup. And Bane, Heisenberg gonna tank a tower shot. But as these supports on both sides gain levels, things become more and more difficult for Radiant heroes. I think mid is quite difficult for either side to gank. The Mirana with Leap, Queen of Pain with Blink, so I don't know if you'll see the supports going there. Then again, you have the Bane Mirana setup that could easily seal the Queen of Pain's fate. And they send a TP up. The Dark Willow is done. They're trying to get her the Rocket Barrage. First blood by a right click from Mikhail. But will Clock be able to get anything in return? Or no, actually, maybe all he gets in return is his own death. The Rocket Barrage not doing a lot of damage into rank 1, but all it takes is some right clicks to bring down that Clock, and a double kill for Mikhail. Not really the hero you want to see that double kill go on, but it's not. It doesn't really matter. They get a ton of XP regardless. A nice gold boost for both sides, and oh, Legion Commander, is she pulling the wave? She sees Clock has gone up top and decides to take the opportunity. Nicely done by Chris. I really like this move. It's very punishing to the Radiant to see for this Legion to just say, you know what, Clock left, I'm gonna drag this wave under my tower. Might run into the Bane though, and Nightmare will de-aggro the creep wave, but a valiant effort from the Legion. And she might get the bounty rune of the Bane, and actually even her Clarity will survive for a moment longer. But less likely to survive this AA. Oh, gets caught in the bramble. Tail end of it. And the Shadow Realm damage. She needs to get in range for that right click, but the homing missile keeps her away. They do get that one kill on the AA, but they would have been much happier with the second. And I think they may not have gotten the kill, but it's I suppose it's not too worth talking about. The great homing missile though from the Gyro to stop that. Lucent Beam. Gotta be cautious around Luna. Her night vision a lot better than a lot of heroes as she gets ranks in her E. So when you're hiding somewhere cheeky like that, she might just see you. The farm has equalized a bit, but Queen of Pain finds level 6 while Mirana is still about 2/3 of the way away. We could see Chico roam with the new 6 on the Queen. A lot of damage coming out with that Sonic Wave. Even if he doesn't go Sonic Wave and he has skilled it up, some of them seem to prefer getting. If they go the 2-1-2 build at 5, I occasionally see them grab a 3rd point and scream at 6 instead of getting the Sonic Wave, and then they Sonic Wave at 7 or 8. Snowball forward on the clock. Looks like they're zoning Mikhail in the back. Slowing down, the Bramble Maze coming in. Clock gonna get by the homing missile to the Cursed Crown, delaying things a little bit. The Moonlight Shadow too slow. Clockwork picked up again. Nice positioning from that AA, wrapping around, throwing down that Cold Feet, and the shards plus the cogs actually, even if the shards weren't there, locking in the clock. All the cores on both teams farming quite well, except for the offlane Dark Willow not doing so much in terms of her farm, and is even falling behind by about a level against the Legion Commander, who now, seeing both supports gone, has taken the opportunity to get a little bit more aggressive. But Steep Set's getting aggressive in another lane. I don't know if Chico may be aware of this. If they can get in range for the Nightmare, it's easy setup for Mirana's arrow. But the cast range is incredibly short. They need to be quick about it. Queen of Pain only rank 1 blink. The Nightmare, she will get away, but they do get it off on her. And a TP coming in now. The arrow flies. It does connect. She's got a long stun on her, but can they get in range? The Starfall chunking her down. She does just die. Master getting that last hit, but Clockwork trapping himself in the cogs. His own tomb under the tower, and another right click. Yet another kill for the Ancient Apparition. So 1 for 1, but Clock for Queen. Tit for tat. You take that every day of the week if you're Steep Sets. The XP swing, much larger than the gold swing, which is about 200 gold. Oh, Luna, you gotta be cautious. Legion Commander with 3 ranks in the overwhelming odds. That stuff hurts. She has no regen either. They're running back to the shrine, but they've popped it already. Luna going to get a paltry amount of regen, if any, and just turns towards base. Has to walk home. This will likely find the Legion Commander level 6, and leaving Luna alone against that Legion at 6 could be rather dangerous. They did get the Queen, but I'd like to see these supports pressure the Legion a little bit more. Speaking of level 6 heroes, Gyrocopter has called down now, making top lane even more dangerous to be for the Radiant. Steep Sets a small amount behind, and they're winding up for a fight, at least XPL. Oh, the smoke is broke by Clock. He sees one. It might hint them that someone else is there. So Dark Willow backing off a bit, coming towards her tower. A DD rune at top. Either mid would like to find that, but it appears that Master will be the one to do so. And now, Moonlight Shadow. They're going to go after something. The right clicks. Oh, I don't think AA saw her. They're looking for whoever they can. They know that Chris is here too. The Mirana, the Dire scanning. They know there's heroes here. They know there's a Moonlight Shadow. Do they have Dust? Do they have Detection? The Barrel Mace coming in. The Curse Crown. Roll forward. The arrow. It misses everybody. The Starstorm. The call down. Hits on 4 heroes. That's a lot. An AoE. The Flat Cannon too. It's taking them down. They lose 2. They're going to lose a 3rd. A double for the Gyro. And Mirana now on the run. She salves up, healing up, trying to get away from this. But Queen of Pain is here. The Sonic Wave flies forward. Death comes in at the ear, but the Starstorm not so easily killed and not given away for free. But the Queen of Pain right there to punish in a 606 gold swing in favor of Dire. Dire, XPL executing that fight excellently, and the call down, just so much damage. And I mean, if their Dark Willow's not 6, their Mirana, Moonlight Shadow isn't really a damage spell, so they just didn't have the damage that XPL had. Steep Sets. I think it was the right play with the DDM on the Mirana. You go with the Moonlight Shadow, you try to find something. But the Dire also had a really excellent scan. They knew that those heroes were there. They're prepared for something. So really well played from XPL, and Steep Set's going to have to show a little bit more restraint, I think, until they get some more levels on these heroes. Mirana on 1k. I wonder if she's going to go like the Diffusal Maelstrom build. I know that was rather popular on the hero for a while. But she could always go for the purely like Aghanims, try to force out BKBs from like Queen of Pain, who doesn't really want to build one. Legion will likely get one. Gyro very naturally builds one, 2nd or 3rd, but you don't really want to see one on your Legion command or on your Queen of Pain. She wants to get Snowball the item. Speaking of Snowball, looks like a failed Snowball from the Tusk, dragging in his Ancient Apparition, and he ends up melted. Speaking of melting people up top, Queen of Pain valiantly, or perhaps cruelly, tries to kill off this Clock, but feels bad. TP's home. The overall net worth on these heroes, even though they've lost some fights, Radiant, their Mirana is out farming the Queen. Luna also a little bit ahead of that Queen of Pain. Dark Willow not as far behind as I thought, but AA a lot richer than I thought. Then again, he is 4-2 and 4, 100% kill participation on Mikhail. Michael? I don't know. I'll have to ask after this game what he wants to be called. Oh, Heisenberg walks underneath an Observer Ward, and they're getting aggressive. Gyro at the top of the net worth, but there's 2 Radiant heroes trying desperately to catch up to him. I think it depends on what build this Mirana goes, and she's going the right-click build, and I think that really is the superior option. Radiant scanning, they see somebody. Mikhail gets beamed up, and a nightmare. It's a nightmare indeed for this Tusk, but it doesn't last long enough, nor do they have any follow-up. Mirana TP's back home, and Arrow is on cooldown for some time yet. So Tusk wakes up in the comfort of his own side of the map. Metaphorical bed. Even though she's out farming the Queen of Pain, a little bit behind on levels. About a full level behind, but now finding the level 10. Gets her first talent with 20 damage. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain getting her own damage talent, but it's 25 on the Quab. Gyro also getting 25 damage, and I think those are the only level 10 heroes in this game at the moment. So everyone picking up their damage talents, and Dire trying to get some damage done, diving in deep. They're not smoked though, they were detected. They're scanning. They know that Luna's there. They're going to scatter out with the sigil. She has her ult, so
Dire's
going in
middle
that
tower
deep
is under
could be
attack.
incredibly risky for any hero. It
Dire
only
just
launches
fortified
5
their
beams,
spires.
though, which could kill somebody, but only one person. So they'd have to hope that it was the Cloth that dives in deep. And Chico, XPL have shown a bit of restraint. Like they don't want to dive that deep. That is risky, and you don't know if it's just the Luna or if Bane is there or if Clock is there. Did the Dark Willow TP? Could Mirana be there too? It's quite dangerous to go in that deep. And Dire ping out that there's a ward here, but their ward just missing it. Rather unfortunate for them, but Steep Set's get a much needed break thanks to that vision. So all the cores rather even. The Queen of Pain, a tiny sum. Pocket change behind the
Dire's
Luna.
bottom tower is under attack.
But Mirana farming really nicely, keeping almost even with this Gyrocopter.
Dire's bottom tower
And now
is in
Moonlight Shadow is
turmoil.
committed, but it appears like it's just to save the Dark Willow. Will they try to turn something with this? The Luna, they can't go in on this. They can pressure the tower a little bit, but Mirana actually turning onto Chico. Chico, though, looks like he's happy to fight this, especially with his teammates TPing. A rocket eats an infused charge.
This will do nicely.
And both teams, they trade glancing blows, but that's about all there is to it.
The wages of fear.
However, Chico with an Arcane Rune may want to maximize his efficiency this game
Radiant's top
using
tower
that
needs
Scream of
bandits.
Pain, Sonic Wave, while it has a shortened cooldown. Heading back towards mid, so has opted to not go bot lane. Good call, as the Bane, now level 6, a much more dangerous opponent for the Queen of Pain to deal with. Dark Willow also level 6, so the control options for Steep Sets now up. They're Terrorize, they're Fiend's Grip, but neither of those spells are going to help the Dark Willow at the moment as the call down comes in, getting her low. She's still alive, winds up the Terrorize, forces them back. The Flat Cannon, not enough damage, but Chico has plenty as he kills the Bane, the Nightmare Elemental, in the bot lane. Although the Dark Willow, the bigger
Dire's
target,
middle tower
will
is
escape.
under fire.
Mirana walking towards the top lane will be spotted by an Observer Ward. She does not have her Moonlight Shadow. Could launch an arrow, but should be dodged. And wow, they're rotating a whole lot of people in here, but if they smoke under this ward, it'll be for nothing. And now they know that they were all spotted out. Mirana heading back mid.
Radiant's
Shoots an
middle
arrow.
tower is
Oof.
not safe.
Narrowly missing the Queen of Pain, but it bought the duel, locking in the Luna. She's getting so low. Will he win? He does, just barely. Ice Blast unnecessary.
The scourge of the blades.
And they finally kill that Luna, sending her down a little bit on the net worth, and a dual victory for the Legion Commander, though barely, although a dual win is a dual win. So starting to get those damage stacks in. Legion doesn't really need a whole lot of damage items thanks to that. Oh, AA, Ice Blast, trying to 1v1 this clock. Damage from the AA, it's not nearly as high as the clock over. The call down should finish him with the AA debuff. The arrow launches, but is dodged rather easily by Troll
Bottom
Bus.
tower has a nasty situation.
And less easy to dodge. The Scream of Pain from the Queen of Pain. And Bane dies yet again, though Morgan finds the kill.
Radiant's bottom
Across the
tower
map,
has a
it is
nasty
2 for 1.
situation.
2 supports for the price of 1, that Ancient Apparition, though as he is going a Midas, his net worth going to be pretty good throughout the game, especially once he gets level 10. He'll get the, I hope he gets the GPM at that point. Just helps him snowball. Haha, Ice Ball. Haha, a little bit faster. Please don't unfollow for that. I do apologize. But it will allow him to get something like a Midas, which will make the Luna a much more vulnerable target, as she does already have lifesteal, and lifesteal is an important part of Luna, I feel like. It makes her very, very strong, hard to kill. The Satanic is a natural build-up for her. But now as Steve Sets fall 3K behind, and XP Also about 5k behind, so even worse behind on XP than they are on gold. As the Legion finds her first talent. So hasn't chosen it yet. Wants to get her W max. I could see not getting a talent on Legion at 10. It's sort of like Puck, right? Puck doesn't really, and Invoker too, won't always get those talents right away because their spells are just so good. And Legion has some pretty good spells. Now cutting the wave up. They immediately TP people in mid. Ice Blast also launched. So now it looks like Radiant will lose the bot lane tower as the result of that rotation. Trying to find the queen. If they killed the queen, that would have been great, but unable to do so. The Blink on Legion found that first duel win, and certainly won't be the last as she approaches her Shadow Blade. Call downs and flat cannons and harass. Oh my. The Dark Willow trying to trade, but so hard to do so. Peculiar that Gyro went Maelstrom first item. I do not usually see this. It's usually something like drums. Sometimes they go mask. Sometimes Saint Inuyasha. But he went for a Maelstrom, which signals to me he might be going for the Axe build. I think the Maelstrom is much better in the Axe build for the Gyro than anything else. Ice Blast, misses Master. And Legion actually looks like she bought her Blade Mail first instead of going for that Shadow Blade. I mean, I don't even know if she... I don't mind the Shadow Blade in addition to the Blink Dagger. But I feel like it's not entirely necessary. Just look at that flat cannon harass for stick. This poor Dark Willow. Oof. Ping's coming out that she got very, very low. The AA has an Ice Blast, but not any mana left to use it anymore. They want to find the high priority Luna. She has Eclipse AA. This isn't where you want to be. She's also got it rank 2. Both these supports could be walking into a death trap, but now she's invisible. They don't have detection on anyone. They do have dust. They've got a clock here. An arrow, it flies. It doesn't hit anybody yet. Now the Luna pops her Eclipse onto 3 heroes, doing a lot of damage. AA not getting saved by that snowball. Neither is Tusk. The Legion already dead. The call down, but the Gyro needs to be careful. All that damage he's doing, will it be for enough? The Queen of Pain showing up. She does have the Sonic Wave, winding up the Terrorize just in time, bailing her team out, sending Queen screaming, but not the way she wants to. Will she pursue? She blinks forward, but she can't find anybody just yet. Excellent execution. Just wonderfully done from Stick. Queen of Pain, the only one in anguish there. Oh, maybe not, but her pursuit for nothing. Wonderful, wonderful play from Steep Sets. I mean, they only got that Legion. Actually, I think they got the Tusk. I think they got all 3. Yeah, the support heroes, very short respawns. They got 3 heroes and bailed out. No one died. The Terrorize, perfect timing. And I promise I'll stop harping on that. But just the potential of that hero winding it up just in time, allowing her team to do something that otherwise very likely would have been punished quite badly by the Queen. They took so much damage from this gyrocopter that they could have been massacred, but they weren't.
Yes.
Oh, arrow connecting, and a Star Storm and a right click. Easy follow-up.
Well,
So now it looks like once Steep Sets are starting to rebound a bit, the laning phase was a little hard for them, but they're coming back really, really nicely. The control that they have in team fights, and I know that the Terrorize was used just to stun up the Queen of Pain, but it could set up other similar events. Lucent Beam, Cursed Crown. I don't think they follow up, just disengage. And Chico kills off the Bane while Legion Commander still respawning. They do get a deny on that tower. But Steep Sets, now the Mirana on the top of the net worth, with Luna only a couple hundred gold ahead of the Queen, well, a mere couple hundred gold behind the gyrocopter. So they're starting to catch up, and I just feel like Luna late game is much scarier than a lot of these other heroes late game. Queen of Pain, I think Queen of Pain's about to get into her funk, where the hero is really great early game, but there's that old adage, right? You go 25, 1, and 25 on Queen of Pain, and you still lose the game. It's because her mid-game impact isn't quite as high. though she does have a secondary power spike once she gets her spell Lifesteal, which gives her a great deal of sustain. And when she hits level 25, the Scream of Pain Fear allows her to contribute to the control of a fight. But I think this is the moment that the Queen of Pain is the weakest. Relative to the other cores with as much gold. Like the Mirana, it right clicks very, very hard. She has a Maelstrom. She has the I just feel like I suppose I could just end it there. Like the Queen of Pain does a little bit less, it feels like, relative to the gold dealer heroes at the moment. I think when she hits her secondary power spike at level 20 and then the next one at 25, it'll be different. But for now, I think Steep Sets have a slight advantage, but the positioning on them and the spell usage has to be perfect because... And Arrow, nice purge off, but this to get rid of that stun, but he might die to right clicks, just barely surviving. His Mon charges and the heal from the Luna. Anyways, it's if the Radiant can avoid all of the AoE, and speaking of, here's some coming right now. Legion has no detection of her own. And an Arrow is setting her up for that duel. The Curse Crown, Terrorize wound up, Snowball save, and they're going to roll forward, but are they going to go in the right way? They do go for the Banes, but they're not going in way deep because of smoke detecting too. The Luna Eclipse coming in. It's getting some heroes low. She needs to stay in range. She kills off the Legion Commander with it. Clockwork filling at the hook, but is going to whiff it. The Tusk dies as well. Will they be able to find anything else? 2 for 1 at the moment. It's a favorable fight for Steep Sets. The Snowball was a good dodge for that Terrorize, but it did push them out of position, and it may have just been better to be terrorized and forced back and to re-engage after the fact. And is that fight very favorable to Steep Sets, who are now merely 1k gold behind, and XP is practically dead even. The Cursed Crown setting up for a perfect arrow. The Queen of Pain is here though, has her Sonic Wave, screams down Mirana, but the Bedlam wreaking havoc, doing terror, but Stick a little over ambitious perhaps, needs to get away from this Gyrocopter. AA Blast on cooldown for 20 seconds. They need to respect the damage that they have.
Radiant's middle tower is not safe.
Even without very many damage items, the Gyrocopter hits rather hard because of flat cannon, or not flat cannon, well, I mean kind of flat cannon in terms of overall damage dealt. But Rocket Barrage, Call Down, and merely 2k, just barely 2k gold ahead for the Dire, so they're still ahead. And they're very much ahead on towers. They've claimed every single tier 1, whereas the Radiant have only claimed the mid tower, although that can change very, very fast when Luna is your carry. I mean, this hero pushes unbelievably fast. Not only that, she helps her team push really fast thanks to her aura, and now she's level 26. That aura, 62 bonus damage, that's a Sacred Relic. Yeah, that's over 3k gold's worth of damage for every hero on her team. An incredibly strong ability. As is the homing missile. Oh, Blinken, nice duel on the Dark Willow. The call down coming down to the arrow, only hitting 1. The Blade Mill doing a lot of damage to Mirana. She needs to jump away. She's alive for now, but Ping Pong kills the Queen of Pain in mid. And now pressures the tier 2 tower. Will she force the rotations from the Dire, or do they just decide that they want to trade tower for tower? So will they even be able to? The Luna damage is much, much better than that of the Dire heroes in terms of hitting towers. So with TP coming in from Legion Commander, she gets to tier 2. Her Eclipse up in just a few seconds. There's no duel up, but she does have Blade Mail. Luna needs to be careful popping that Eclipse! Oh, she kills herself on the Blade Mail of Chris, giving away the kill streak gold. Beautifully done. Very unfortunate for the Luna. I can see, I can feel what she was thinking. She just thought to herself, this is it, this is the double kill, but Legion Commander just, you know, stop hitting yourself, please. And it's, I mean, it felt like she was probably dead either way. The Eclipse definitely didn't help though. But Luna's still the top net worth hero. XPL reclaiming a small amount of their XP and gold lead, though the game's suddenly a little bit more even than I think it was at the very beginning. I mean, the first 15 minutes really just felt like XPL were in the driver's seat, but now they're still a bit in control. They're mostly in the driver's seat. They're player 1. They're player 1 for now, though. Want Steep Sets picking up their learner's permit as they approach a comeback, or at least try to, and they're in a good position to do it. Their cores are well farmed. The Dark Willow is a fair bit behind, but the Luna and the Mirana are farming very, very well. Mirana with her Yules to set up her own arrows. I think that's unnecessary when you have Nightmare on your team. I'd rather see her get another damage item or finish her Hurricane Pike. At level, like I think Diffusal Blade would have been great for her. At level 20, she'll get that damage talent. Oh, they have an arrow. Is Luna in position? They've launched it. It hits the Cursed Crown. Will set up 2. It purges everything off thanks to that Legion Commander. An excellent counter pick in this game. I mean, they didn't even really counter pick the... I think Legion was picked before Mirana. Maybe after. I'm not sure. It was their 3rd or 4th pick. But essentially, this game... The pick-off combo is you arrow, you Nightmare, you arrow, you Cursed Crown, and that's a good, like, 15 seconds of stun. Or can be Snowball. They cancel the Terrorize, and they jump fake it, and Tusk, he doesn't have a blink. Yules, and as soon as he lands, it's Coronation Day. He's stunned up, trapped in the Bramble Maze.
What a hell of a team, Jackson.
I love her accent. I know I may be one of the few, but I love Dark Willow's voice acting. And I love how they're playing it. She's behind in gold, but this hero just does so much with her abilities. Bedlam, like a higher damage output Death Ward after the 1st rank. And Terrorize, again, I just have to say I think it's probably the best, possibly the best AoE control spell in the game at the moment, except maybe the Naga Song.
Radiant structures are
Maintain Choco trying to... Oh, they faked the Terrorize again.
dire structures are fortified.
And the final tier 1 on the map seems ready to fall, but a tier 2 at bot will suffer the same fate. And Queen of Pain prepping to jump. She's got her Chilling Touch from her Ancient Apparition. They see Master there. He's got a Yule, so he can get out of an Orchid. And diving in on that would be incredibly low probability success. Mirana. I think I still really want to see a Diffusal Blade on her. It's like it may seem redundant, but the mana break stacks together additively, and it does a lot of damage. And in this game, I think the mana break is really good against the Queen. I mean, she has a ton of mana, but it's just free damage, you know.
Illusion.
And the Purge is also really nice to set up for arrows, like. Dire smoked up now, but pinged out. I think they... Nope, it's the Gyro spamming those pings. If the Legion can find a duel, then it's an easy kill with Ice Blast. That's an illusion. Do they break their smoke? Are they going to duel an illusion? There's smoke. Oh, no! Oh, no! They didn't realize their smoke. It didn't break, and now they're radiant. They're invisible, and they know that's the real Queen. She blinks away just in time, as she's not Fiend's Gripped. But will she be chased down? They may find another target, an easier target. Soft Serve, Ancient Apparition. TP's away. Are they gonna keep looking? Do they have the lockdown for the Queen of Pain? Tusk with his blink won't get caught out after his snowballs anymore, but may leave teammates stranded still. Ice Blast appears to have connected. Nope, it just whiff. And Luna just sends her illusions to push, but the Dire must be kicking themselves after dueling and screaming on that illusion. Not quite the play. On 3,200 gold, Mirana has more than enough for buyback. Unlikely to need it at the moment.
Spoiled that shot.
I still want to see a Molnir into a Diffusal Blade for the Mirana. Like Molnir, Diff Blade, Manta, Hurricane Pike. That I like that build a lot. Maybe even Daedalus at some point. Probably wants to get a BKB though.
This will be nice.
I'm not necessarily building build all the items I listed, but some of them I like. And she did queue up that Diffusal Blade. You see Queen of Pain, the only hero level 20, is taking her spell Lifesteal and doing a lot more tankiness in the fight. Just the spammability of her E.
Radiant's bottom tower has a nasty situation.
Free tier
Radiant's
2.
bottom tower is now a pile of dust.
But high ground sieges will be very, very difficult. I think the Dire will absolutely need an Aegis to go for that. And they're scanning, speaking of Aegis, they're scanning Roshan, realizing that no one defended that tier 2. No one even showed their face by this tier 2. Something must be up. But really, it's Steve says just farming, hanging out in their base, doing them. And speaking of doing them, Luna's about to pick up her BKB. She might want to save for buyback, though, as they've only got one tier 2 left, which, if she doesn't have that buyback, could easily result in the lane of Rax
Radiant's
going
middle
down.
tower may need a hand.
Brave Maze trying to slow things down, as is the homing or the rocket.
Radiant's middle tower is not safe.
So the wave clear is pretty good, and I mean Luna starts beating down on this tier 2. They pop fortification. Luna has her manta up in a few seconds. Ice blast, and she just TP's out. Legion, can she get the duel? No. Not able to cast that in time, and Luna escapes and breaks the siege a little bit. Now without the, they do lose their tier 2, but it could set up for some kind of kills. Legion not there. They do have Fiend's Grip and the Nightmare. The Gyrocopter, arrow coming in. The snowball save just in time. Beautiful Eclipse, but the Hero Rise timed in time for that for the snowball to end. Legion has arrived. The Sonic Wave coming in. It ends one, but what Ping kills off the Gyro. Heisenberg dies, as does the Master. Queen of Pain, the Mistress, and the Screams. Stick bailing out, Cogs drop down to try to push them away. They lose 2 for 1. They have buyback on their Mirana. They may be forced to use it. And a very good fight for the Dire. They should be able to pressure this tier 3, and they still have the Legion's duel, so Luna must play carefully. So Chico tanking tower, not the ideal, and Cogs pushing them out. The Dire winning a fight and slowly starting to build up their lead again. They're now at 4K in gold and XP, almost 7K, probably right around 7K.
Fit for a queen.
Though Luna still sits at the top of the net worth, and really the biggest, almost the whole gold difference is the difference between the Dark Willow and the Legion Commander. And I feel like if this game goes long enough to the point where the Dark Willow can kind of close that gap or begin to close that gap, we may feel this game shift more towards the Radiant's court, but it will take a great deal of time. She's 5K gold behind. And Aegis is something I think that the Steep set should consider. They kill it pretty quick thanks to the Luna. They can always try to bail out with a Moonlight Shadow. But both teams, great scouting tools to keep eyes on the Roshan pit. And Queen of Pain, now her Nullifier down, will make things difficult for this Luna, but her BKB can help nullify the Nullifier a little bit if she gets it off before the Nullifier. Oh, Legion could be walking into a death trap. Fiend's Grip, Cursed Crown, and Bedlam.
The prize is mine. Die, Mongol.
They TP back to shove out waves. I'd like to see them go for Roche with the Legion dead. It's a 4v5 situation though against AA and Queen of Pain and Gyro. Risky to go for Roche. Just the mat, like the AA. If the AA blast hits all your heroes, and then you get Sonic Waved and called down, you could all just die right away. So Steve sets still got to play really carefully. And Mirana finishing her Diffusal Blade, has her Mana Break talent now on top of things, so a pretty big damage spike for her, I think. So let's see, it's 50 mana burn and 0.8 burned, so that's 40 damage, 65 extra damage for her just from mana burn. So she's doing about 250 damage per right click before reductions. That's quite a lot. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at, and that's even without the Luna Aura, which provides an additional 62. I'm not sure that I'm sold on this Gyro build. He did finish his Hurricane Pike, has his BKB. I like Maelstrom Gyro, but I don't love it unless he goes for Ags. However, I love that they're going for Roshan. But will Clock be able to scout out with rockets? They don't see any heroes on the map. It's pinged out by Bane now. They send a rocket flare in. They see all these dire heroes grouped up inside the pit. AA throws down his E, the chilling touch. Are they? They're reeling up for a fight, but the Moonlight Shadow could make things difficult. They throw down a bunch of sentry wards. They see these heroes, the homing missile coming in. The Fiend's Grip already connected. The arrow, also the Terrorize wound up. Fear's on two. The two people able to do it thanks to the BKBs. The Sonic Wave coming in now. The Luna having her eclipse, but it's not hitting anyone yet. However, they've already lost 3 heroes. The Radiant's still very healthy. Chico on the run. I don't know why I keep saying Choco, but going to die anyway. The Brain Sap ends her. And this could be set up for Roshan, and that's a huge win for the Radiant. 4.2k gold and a Roche going their way. 7k XP. This could be the moment that they needed to come back into this game.